the story. The story goes like this. Again, if you heard it, keep it down. So there was a guy who went to a movie theater. Somebody went to a movie. And in the middle of the movie, someone starts yelling out, fuego. We're here in, okay. Starts yelling, fire. So what does everybody do? Okay, that's one thing then. They start running. People start running, panicking, and they're running all over, and people are knocking each other over, and they bust open the doors. What happens when you go to a movie, and it is the middle of the day, and the movie is very dark? So what happens when you walk outside? Right, you're blinded by the light, right? So everybody walks out, and the light's hitting them. They're like, they can't see. They're falling down staircases. Nobody got hurt. One guy died. Afterwards, they found out that the whole thing was really just a prank. There really was no fire. So they got this guy, and what they do, they brought him to court for something called public endangerment. Public endangerment. And when they brought him to court for public endangerment, he was ready with his defense. What was his defense?
Free speech.
Freedom of speech, right? It says freedom of speech. I can say whatever I want. So what did the judge say? No. Nice try. Even in America the Great, where you have something known as freedom of speech, it's not so free. You can't say whatever you want whenever, well, let's say it differently. You can say whatever you want, but there's going to be some serious repercussions for some of the things we might say. Now, what do you think Judaism has to say about the matter? Do we have freedom of speech? Can we say whatever we want in Judaism? No. Let's be very little brother-esque for a moment. Can we say whatever we want?
Say.
Right, you have the ability to say whatever you want. Say what you want to say. You can say whatever you want. But don't be surprised if there's some sort of repercussion. I like to look at it like a credit card. Spend as much as you want. Just keep spending. Spend. Just know at the end of the month, you better make sure your account is stacked that you pay it off. Same thing over here. Say whatever you want. Just keep saying. Better make sure at the end of your life, your account is stacked that you can pay it off. So I want to delve in a little bit to the concept of the power of speech. Some of the ideas you may have heard before, others may be new, but at the very least it'll be a review. So let's start off with the following concept, a phrase which many of you probably know. It goes like this: sticks and stones will break my bones, but whips and but words will never hurt me. Who has not heard that before? You've never heard that phrase before? Never heard that. Where are you from? Peru. So, como se dice en español? No, help it. Sticks and stones. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Come on.
I never heard that.
Oh, come on, you Spanish speakers never heard this stuff, huh? All right. So in Spanish, I think it is sticks and stones break my bones, but words will nunca duelen. Right? Okay. So it's good that you didn't hear. Whoever did not hear it, you're in a good place. Who has heard that before? Who has it? Have we met?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where?
Israel, like last summer.
Where?
Ace.
Okay, and you've heard the phrase sticks and stones? Who told you?
I just know it from like school. I don't know.
How old were you at the time?
I don't know, maybe like 5th grade.
Whoa.
I don't know.
Are you smarter than a 5th grader? Okay, good. All right, so who else? You've heard it before? When did you hear it?
I don't know, I'm just like...
You guys don't know much, I see. How old were you? Around?
Maybe like 3, 4.
3, 4. Who told you?
Just I heard it around, probably someone I said.
Around the park? By the schoolyard? Okay, you heard it before?
Yes, sir.
Who told you?
Teacher, I believe.
Teacher. Okay, anyone else? Who told you?
My older brother.
Your older brother lied to you. What's that?
Parents.
Oh, your parents lied to you. I'm so sorry. Okay. So we know, what's the real phrase? What's the real phrase? Is it true is that sentence true?
No.
Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I mean, the real phrase is sticks and stones will break my bones, words will kill you. Now, we don't tell it to the little ones, right? You know, can I get a crayon? I'm going to kill you. We don't want them to know that. But the real phrase is, think about it. We have things which happen to us when we're very young. Very young. And what can happen, you imagine you're in kindergarten, okay? You're 7 years old. It's your 3rd time there. And the teacher says to you, hey kid, you don't know how to color in the line. 20 years later, you're walking down the street and you see that teacher. What's the first thing that comes to your mind? But don't say it if it's not the, okay. What's that? He goes, anyway, so what's the first thing that comes to mind? I can color in the line. Right? We remember these things. The thoughts come flooding back. It's all coming back. It's all coming back to me now. Right? I think it was Celine who said so. And what happens, the same thing is when a person goes out and the teacher says to you, wow, you drew that rose so nicely. 20 years later, you see that teacher, thank you so much. That's when you get arrested because they don't know who you are. But at the very least, you remember these things. Sticks and stones will break my bones. Words will absolutely kill you. Very, very powerful. The idea of speech, how powerful is it? So it's not just fluff, my friends. It's quite intense. Bastante intense. And we're going to see just how bastante intense it is. How was that? Was that okay? That was okay. You understood what I said, right? You didn't understand? Bastante intenso.
Ah, yeah.
Sí, bastante
Bastante intenso.
Intenso? Okay, intenso. In America, we say intense. All right, so in any event, we're going to take a look and see just how intenso it gets, how intenso it is. So I just want to take it a little further now to quote to you a bestseller. There's a book known as Psalms. And in this bestseller, written by King David, Tehillim, or Tehillim, if you prefer. And if you take a look in the book of Tehillim, we have the following phrase. It's found, we say it in the Hallel. In the Hallel, it says like this. In the Hallel, we have the following phrase. Carlos, is a good one or no? We're good? Yeah, good. Let me know. Okay. So we say the following phrase in the Hallel, and in there it says like this. He'emanti. Finish it off. He'emanti. No, finish it. Say it. Ki adaber, which means what? What does that mean? He'emanti ki adaber. Who speaks Hebrew here? Raise your hand if you speak Hebrew. Yeah. How do you say satellite dish? That's okay. All right, so now, just messing around, am I? Okay, so it says the phrase, He'emanti ki adaber. What does that mean, He'emanti ki adaber? Literally what it means is, I believe because I will speak, in the future tense, adaber, right? Loki dibarti, but we're going to pull a little homiletical move, which basically in Art Scroll means I can say whatever I want now. He'emanti ki adaber means I believe because I speak. I believe because I speak. What does that mean? So I'll share with you a little story. My oldest daughter, let's call her Nava, okay, because that's her name. Now, Nava, who's now almost 12 years old, can you believe it? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Some of you met her when she was like 4 or 5. So and others are like, who are you talking to? But all right, so anyway, so Nava is now going to be 12 years old. When she was young, when she was a young warthog, she was about, let's say, 2 or 3 years old, my wife and I, get a shot from the back, you know what I mean, like one of those? Did he leave? Anyway, so when I know, I wasn't, okay. When I instead of Shach style, the other way. So when my daughter was about 3 years old, my wife and I brought her to it's the Israeli version of an amusement park. It's one of those blow-up things, you know, the bouncy houses, you know. It's not like what you call like Action Park or Great Adventure. I don't know what you guys have in Florida, but like when I grew up, that's what we had. So there we call it a bouncy house thing, right? And she's like, about 2 or 3, she was so excited, right? She just couldn't hide it. No. And she saw this thing, and she runs over. It was a bouncy castle house slide. You know, it's the bouncy material that you go up it and you come down. And how do you get up the slide? Climb what? Stairs or?
Like a ladder.
Rope ladder, right? That's I don't know what you guys grew up with, but we grew up with a very dangerous thing. Like you go up and you get stuck and whatever, it's a whole thing. But so the rope ladder. So my daughter Nava, she was so excited when she saw this. She runs over to it. She runs over and she grabs on, and then she turns around. She goes, I can't do it. I said, Nava, you can do it. She says, no, I can't do it. I said, repeat after me, you can do it. She goes, you can do it. I said, no, say, I can do it. She goes, I can do it. I said, say it again. She goes, I can do it. I said, say it like you mean it. She goes, I can do it. I said, now go do it. She turns around, I believe I can fly. I believe it. She starts climbing up. Halfway through, she goes, I can do it. I said, great, look forward, right? And she gets to the top of this thing. It's about 8 feet tall. She gets to the top, the pigeons fly off. She drinks a raw egg. Ba-dum-bum. She made it. Unbelievable. Amazing. 2.5, 3 years old, she made it up to the top. Now, let me ask you a question. Imagine you're going to search on Bing or Google, and you type in the following. You write amazing stories. Who here thinks this would not make the top 10? This would not make top. Please get out. Thank you so much. This is my daughter. All right. Okay. So there's one part of the story. There's one part of the story that I neglected to mention, and that is that nobody told little Nava. Nobody told little Nava that she's allowed to use her legs. Picture that. I want you to picture the scene. She runs up and she starts grabbing on, okay, so you can see. She starts grabbing on. Now her legs were like flailing in the back, right? She was using just her arms. She pulled herself up 8 feet. She's like, I can do it, the governor, right? She pulled herself up 8 feet using just her arms. A little more impressive. Where does that come from, my friends? He'emanti ki adaber. I believe because I speak. This is, I believe, I heard in the name of Ford, and then earlier perhaps Confucius, who says, whether you say you can or you say you cannot, doesn't matter. You're right. Everybody hear that? Whether you say you can or you say you cannot, doesn't matter, you're right. If you say you can't do something, I cannot do it. Yo no puedo. Yo no puedo. Yo no puedo. If you're from Argentina, yo no puedo. I can't. I cannot do it. If a person says you can't do it, you're right. Correcto. You won't be able to do it. But if a person says, yo puedo, yo puedo, the person says, I can do it, we'll be able to do things we never could have imagined. If I can give you another quote just for those who understand what I'm talking about, it's a Maven Yovin statement of Noach, so we'd say differently. Noach, why blessed memory said, whether you say you can or you say you can't, you're a code for both ways. Anyway, but bottom line is it comes down to you can only do with God's help. But what we're saying over here, very simply, at least on the level that we understand, is that if you say you can do things, you'll be able to do things you never could have imagined. If you say you can't do things, you will shut yourself down. How many people have said the phrase, I can't? Never said that before? I can't. Your parents say, hey, I can't. Right? Go, I can't. Someone says do this work. I can't. Try the other. I can't. Do that. I can't. And we say I can't. You're right. You shut yourself down. But it gets much deeper than that, friends. It gets much deeper. It's not just a concept of, okay, so you'll be able to accomplish. You won't be able to accomplish. We're going to get even more intenso right now. Even more intenso. The phrase goes as follows. This is found in the writings, what's known as Tanakh. We can't say ch, so Tanakh. If you take a look in the Tanakh, in the part, you'll find that there's a beautiful phrase there. It's a little bit. Who does not speak Hebrew? Don't speak Hebrew. I don't speak Hebrew. Shalom. Do you speak? All right. So okay, let's try. You ready? I'm going to say it perhaps backwards just to get an idea out. You ready? No help, no one helping. Quiet on the set. No. Let's begin. What does the word Chaim mean? Who didn't say, I don't speak any Hebrew. I said, what does Chaim mean? He says, I don't know. I said, come on, Chaim, you don't know Chaim? He goes, I don't know. I'm like, like you say, L'chaim. He goes, to drink. I said, no. L'chaim doesn't mean to drink. L'chaim means yoter tov lo. L'chaim doesn't mean to drink. L'chaim means life. Now, let's do this. I'm going to help you for a moment. Ready? White, black. You understand? Up, down. Chaim means life. Mavet. There you go. Chaim u'mavet. Here's the flip. It's mavet u'chaim. Biyad. In the hand of the lathon. Of the tongue. Very good. Mavet u'chaim. Death and life. Death and life is in the hands of the tongue. Muerta y vida y hermano la lengua. Death and life, was I close? I was close, I'm getting closer. Death and life is in the hands of the tongue. What does that mean exactly? That's like one of those phrases, the pen is mightier than the sword. I live in Israel. I have never seen a soldier on his way to battle. As he walks out, goes, wait a minute, I forgot my pen. Right? And goes back. So what does that mean? Obviously it means figuratively speaking when we say the concept of death and life, or we say the pen is mightier than the sword. So what do we mean when we say death and life is in the hands of the tongue? Do we mean literal or do we mean figuratively speaking? What do you say? What? Figurative? Someone else said something?
I said both.
We got a both on the stand? Getting a little wild, are we? Right? All right. So we got ourselves one, the other. The answer is to save some time is both. And we're going to take a look and see how this works. We're going to start off with figurative. We're going to work our way up to quite literal. We'll start off with figurative. Figuratively speaking, by now, many of you will know who this is. He became very famous over the past year. This fellow's name is someone by the name of Ben Carson. Anyone know who that is? Who's Ben Carson? Right, he was running for one of the candidates running for the presidential seat, I believe they call it. Right? He was running for presidency. And Ben Carson, he dropped out. He ran out of money. And in any event, Ben Carson, to know a little bit of his background, he was from a place called Detroit, Michigan. Not Detroit, Detroit. You know it, right? Detroit. He grew up in a place that was not exactly the highest of the high in terms of finances. And he, he decided one day, he was a young kid, one day he decided he wants to be a doctor. So he starts working on his maths and his sciences. He starts to do really well till finally, he gets an opportunity to take the MCATs, the entrance exam into medical school. And he passes with true colors. And he was so happy. The only thing he didn't know was going to happen to him, it was his very first day of medical school. On the very first day of medical school, he merited to have a professor that was a racist. It was a racist, a racist. And what happened was, you're not really legally allowed to be openly as a professor in a university a racist. You can't make racial comments. But he decided, this professor walked over and kind of hinted to him. He hinted it to him. He walked over and went, I don't like black people. Now this guy Ben was a smart guy. He picked up on the hint. And he said, what? And he says, why don't you just go home? And he was crushed. He was embarrassed. He was crushed. He says, okay, I guess, okay, what can I get? If that's what I've got to do. But he says, a little bit embarrassing. I'm not going to leave now. I'll stay till the end of the day. So he stays till the end of the day. And that day he's walking home. He's feeling down. He's feeling dejected. He's feeling like nothing, honey. And as he's walking towards his house, head down, he looks up and he hears his mother come outside and say, son. And he looks up and goes, son, you are the greatest. And he said, what? Son, you are the greatest. Is that my cue? I have to get on the mic? Okay. Son, you are the greatest. And he's like, son, you're going to get us out of here. We're moving on. No, come on. To the east side. The choir walks out. To the east side. Right, he made it. Right, to a deluxe apartment. You're going to take us out. He goes, yeah, I am the greatest. All of a sudden, Muhammad Ali popped out. I'm the greatest, and knocked him out. Right? Okay, that part didn't happen. But he goes and he says, I am the greatest. He goes back the next day. And the professor looks at him and goes, what are you doing here? You're a nothing. And he's like, oh my gosh, I'm a nothing. Starts walking home. As he walks home, he comes up to his house. His mother comes out and says, son, here's some apple pie. And you are the greatest. Pastel manzana. And you are the great. That wasn't close. And you, was it? Thank you. And you are the greatest. And he goes, yeah, I am the greatest. And goes back the next day and the professor's like, what are you doing here? Nothing. Goes back home, greatest, nothing. Greatest, nothing. So he developed a condition. He goes to see a doctor, he gets it fixed. And he finishes with that year of medical school. He's done with that year. And he goes on. Are there any doctors in the room? Any doctors? Why am I raising my hand? I don't know. Are you a doctor? Okay, but like me. Okay, so doctor, what do you specialize in? Well, you certainly cooked the books, doctor. All right, in any event. All right, so what happens is, if anyone knows a little bit of medical school, you go for, let's say, about, I don't know, the average like 4 years or so. Then you have like 4 years of residency or something. You graduate, you get cracking. So what happened with Dr. Carson, Ben Carson, he went on, finished that year, and then he went on for another 11 years until he finally graduated. I guess the guy was right. Maybe he should have given up, right? What took him so long? Well, that's because Dr. Ben Carson went on to become what's known as a pediatric neurosurgeon. For those who are unfamiliar with what that means, it's a child brain doctor. If you still don't know what that is, I could refer you to someone. And Dr. Carson went along, and what he did is he went on to write a book. That's where you make the big cash. That's where you make the real dinero, the plata, if you know what I'm saying, right? So what happens, he wrote a book. He wrote one thing in this book. So he wrote another book with more things, but he had one major point. And he basically said, I want to thank my mama because she said one thing that saved my life. What is it? Thank you so much. I love this part. You guys are not so bad yourselves, by the way. I just want to let you know that. Thank you. What did she say? Here's some apple pie. And you're the greatest. My friends, understand what just happened. What do we say? Maves uchayim, muerta y vida, death and life is in la mano de la lengua. It's in the hands of the tongue. He said, chayim umavet, mavet uchayim biyad halashon. We say that death and life is in the hands of the tongue. You could kill someone's dreams, hopes, and aspirations with one sentence. That's a speaking trick when you say things in threes. Dreams, hopes, aspiration. You got it? Write that one down. Right? You can kill it with one sentence. That's what we mean when we say death and life is in the hands of the tongue. You can kill someone like that. But that's what we would call figuratively speaking. Now, I don't know what you came here for, but I'm going to tell you some pretty heavy stuff right now. We're going to get a little Kabbalistic on you if we can. I know it's the middle of the day, and we usually do this at night with Madonna, but we're going to try to get a little Kabbalistic. Stay with me now. There's quite a literal sense over here, and to get this part, you have to know a little bit of background. There's an idea in Judaism that a person can do whatever they want. You can do whatever you want, which works very well for the days we're in right now, the high holy days as we call them, the awesome days, the days of awe, Yomim Noraim, when we say, God forgive us for this and forgive us for that, Slach Nanu, people like, someone to save time, and they go like, right. So we go and we say, forgive us. Understand the following. A person in Judaism can do whatever, you can do whatever you want. You can mess around with someone else's spouse on Yom Kippur in the Holy of Holies while eating a cheeseburger that you didn't buy but you stole on Shabbos without making a bracha. I'm sorry if I went overboard in that one. I'm sorry about the bracha part. I know that was a little intense. And nothing will happen to you. Nothing will happen to you. Nothing will happen. First, let me be very clear. En el mundo aquí no hay en el cielo, pero ahora en el mundo aquí. We're talking about in this world. In the next world, that's a whole new world. But in this world, Nothing will happen to you as long as you don't do one thing. It's not get caught or die. What is it? I like the unity. That was beautiful. Does anyone have another answer? Any other answers that someone wants to share with us? Don't be embarrassed. Try. What do you think it is? Say it again. Kill someone. Don't actually do that. That's on video. Don't, what?
Tell, not kill.
Oh, you said tell someone while you're killing them? Okay. Tell someone. Okay. Maybe. Anyone? Any other answers? I'll give you a hint. Do you prefer? You want to ask the audience? You could ask the speaker. Right? Here we go. It rhymes with lashon hara. Please get this right. Thank you. Lashon hara. For the rest of you, thank you for joining. Right? Thank you. Rhyme. Lashon hara. That means evil speech or slander, speaking negatively about an individual, about a group of people. When a person goes ahead and speaks lashon hara, speaks negatively about an individual, a group of people, what ends up happening? Now that starts opening up some serious business, which we don't want to be opening up, my friends. What am I talking about? So I'm going to share with you a Gemara. The Talmud says the following idea. Talmud, just without going through all the background right now, is what's known as part of the oral tradition. Tradition. And if you take a look in the Talmud, which is called Bava Basra on page 16a, you probably won't check so I can make it up, but it's there. And the Talmud says that we have a character in Judaism. We have a character in Judaism by the name. I used to write it. I can't write it over here. What I used to do is, the character is I would write S-T-A-N, because people got freaked out when you write Satan, right? Till one time, this guy in the back goes like this. I'm like, Stan, I'm really sorry. Okay, I'll just write it out. And there's a character in Judaism that we know is Satan. And in Hebrew we call him the Satan. The Satan. This is actually a real character, not to be confused with, I believe it's 14th century Christianity paintings, which came out with some interesting depictions. Okay, but we have something called Satan. And there's actually a real thing, it's an angel, Angel, we have an angel. And the Talmud tells us that this angel has got 3 jobs. Trois travail. 3 jobs. What are the jobs? Number 1, numero uno, lo primero. Number one, he's known as the E-I. The E-I, the evil inclination. The Yetzirah. He comes along and he tries to get us to do the wrong thing. Comes out and says, come on, everybody's doing it, right? Everybody's doing it. And what ends up happening? Eventually, what's your name?
Amy.
Hi. So in any event, what happens is like this. Now, Amy, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever, like, what's happening? Have you ever done something that you shouldn't have done?
Of course.
Okay. Have you ever done something right?
Of course.
Bit of hesitation there, Amy.
How was that?
That's okay. Okay, so Amy, you go ahead and let's say I'll be Satan for a moment. Okay, some people, how dare you not address me the right? Okay, so Amy, I got some stuff you just got to try. Let's go do the wrong thing. You say?
No.
Everybody's doing it, Amy. Come on.
No.
We won't tell anyone. Come on, Amy. You've fallen before. You're fighting it though. That's good. Aseret to Tshuva, the 10 days of repentance. Very good, Amy. Okay, but we have times in our lives. Let's go back to a time when you did fall. Okay, let's talk about that. What happened? No, it's okay. All right, but ready? Let's go do it. And you say, play with me now.
No.
We'll try another answer.
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so you go and you fall to it and you do the wrong thing. Job number 2. He then switches hats. Lo segundo. He then becomes what's known as the Mekatreg. Who speaks Hebrew a little and wants to translate that? Mekatreg. You know, okay. Anyone else? Say it again. The prosecutor. The Mekatreg is a prosecutor. He goes upstairs and says, hey God, look what she did. Look what she did. Right? And goes and tells you, becomes your little brother, and makes sure that now he's going to get in big trouble. Now he's going to get, ¿cuál es el problema? El problema es Dios. Now God knows. Right? Now he's in big trouble. And then job number 3, sombrero number 3, he then comes down and he becomes what's known as the Ángel de la Muerte, the angel of death, M&M. Malach Hamaves. More accurately be M&H, but it's not as fun. He becomes the M&M, the Malach Hamaves. Number 1 is the evil inclination. Number 2 is a prosecutor. Number 3 is the Malach Hamaves, the angel of death. That doesn't mean he's going to come and kill somebody, but it means he's going to mete out the atonement or the punishment that somebody now deserves for what they have done. Does this make sense, what I've said so far? Is everybody with me? Any questions to this point? Or should I go tzaipa? Now listen what happens at this stage. If there's anything that pops up at any time, feel free to ask. I don't know how these rules work and these like formal type of stuff. So you can ask whatever you'd like to ask if it's relevant. Yeah, you want to ask me?
Am I job number one or hut number one?
No, you are the subject.
Okay.
You are the subject, but if you'd like to be the first one, if the evil inclination, if you prefer to do that, then we could do that one day. You know, we could film you and we can get you right in there. We can get you some horns and whatever it is. Yeah? Okay. Call my manager. Saying, get her on. Okay. So let's see how this works. Number one is that Amy, we got you. Amy, still your name? Amy, we go to get you to do the wrong thing and you go and you fall to it. Number two, then goes and tells God, see what's going on. Number three, becomes now the messenger to now mete out the punishment that the person deserves. But listen what happens. Listen what happens. Let's play it out. Amy, I got some stuff you just got to try. No. Everybody's doing it. No. You won't get caught. No. But really, fine. And you fall. I go up and say, hey, God, look what she did. And what does God respond? I can't listen to you. And Satan goes, what do you mean you can't listen to me? Because I can't listen to. Why can't you listen to me? You see, you have to understand something. Since Amy is the type of girl that doesn't listen to negative speech about other people, is that accurate for at least now? Nor does she speak negatively about other people, at least for right now. Therefore, mida keneged mida, or as we say in English, measure for measure. I can't listen or speak negatively about her. Does everybody see what just happened? This whole world works on one concept known as measure for measure. And if we go ahead and we don't speak negatively about other people or listen to negativity about other people, then God in turn doesn't speak or listen to negativity about us. And essentially what that means is we stop Satan in his tracks. He could be the evil inclination. He could be the tattletailer. But he'll never become the messenger to mete out a punishment. It will stop him before it'll get to that stage. My friends, when we talk about the idea of power of speech, this is not like, you know the phrase, if you have nothing nice to say, be careful because you might die. Say it in Yiddish. Yeah, I saw that t-shirt recently. Yeah. If you have nothing nice to say, be careful because you might die. You know the impact this has? When we speak what's going on upstairs, there are judgments that are happening. There's batei dinim, there are court cases. And the things that are being back and forth, we don't even know what's happening. We say one little thing, hey, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? Do you know what's going on? Friends, this, my friends, is where things get a little bit crazy. And now when we say the concept of Mavet Uchaim Biyad Alashon, come on in. Mavet Uchaim Biyad Alashon, come on in still. Death and life is in the hand. Come on down. You're the next contestant. Come, no? Okay, so we say, oh, you're checking it out? Surveying it? What do you think? What do you think about the lighting? How's that? Not bad. Okay, so we say the concept of death and life is in the hands of the tongue. When we say figuratively, then we move on to quite literal. Quite literal. So my friends, we see these aren't games. These aren't games. We might have a fun time here, but these aren't games. When a person goes and talks, what does it do? It has there are real ramifications when we go and we speak. But there's another level though. There's another level I want to share with you. There's a weird phenomenon that if somebody smiles at you, you have to smile back. Now, it's either because you're thinking like, hoo-hoo, right? And maybe you're not wrong, but you know, we think certain things, you may be right, I may be crazy, but it might be a lunatic you're looking. So we find, as that turn out the light, we wind them on. Understand what happens when we smile at someone, the impact of what happens if somebody smiles back. It's hard not to, it's contagious. It's contagious. So I want to share with you a little story. And this goes along with another concept to understand. It's not just the way in which we talk that has an impact. It's just the way we present ourselves. The way we present ourselves. What's with this Judaism thing? Like I have to watch the way I speak and the way I present myself? The answer is yes. We're looking for perfection. We're looking to get as great as we can be. We don't give up and just talk a certain way, but whatever it is. We're talking about walk this way. Talk this way. We want to get it all. I want the big package. So what happens? I'll tell you a little story. I didn't know this. When I said this once, I was up north in the Holy Land. I don't remember where it was. It must have been maybe in Sfat, perhaps. And there was a group from England there. And when I started to tell the story, this kid picks up the story and he takes over. And he tells me the whole story that I was about to say, but in a poem. So apparently this is a poem. I remember getting this as a chain email. I don't know if they have them anymore because things go straight to your junk mail. I mean, now they have like the Nigerian thing. Like, can you send 14 billion to my account, Steve? I'll send it back to you. So yeah, sure, no problem, right? That's what it is now. But back then it was like, send this email on to 12 people now, or you will be spooked out to whatever, right? So, in webcams, who knows? So I would do it. So I got this one chain email once. I got this one chain email that just goes to show you, just fascinating. It's not just the way you speak, it's even the way that you present yourself. Listen to how powerful this story is. The story goes, there was a guy. This guy woke up one day on the wrong side of the bed. Yeah, he wasn't in a good mood. He went back to sleep and he woke up on the right side, but he was still in a bad mood. So he decides he's got to, he's going out to get himself some breakfast at the local diner, which doesn't really make sense. But all right, he was going to the local breakfast. And as he's walking down the street, he sees this guy across the street start looking at him like and he gets a little freaked out, crosses over another street, but it cheered him up. It changed him. It made him feel a lot better. So there he was, he's sitting at the restaurant, and when he finishes the meal, he bought pancakes for like $3. But instead of leaving, the tip of what 15 cents and $3 is, accountant? 45 cents. Instead of going ahead, okay, now we know who to know. Anyway, instead of that, leaving the I know you're tired, it's okay. Instead of going ahead and leaving a tip of 15%, he's feeling good. Ba-na-na-na-na-na-na. So he decides, I'm going to leave $1, 33 1/3%. That's a pretty good tip on pancakes. So the waitress is walking by and cleaning up and sees a full $1 tip. Now she starts to feel good. So as she's walking down the street, she sees that there's this homeless fellow on the side of the road. Okay, feels bad, gonna leave a couple of change, and she's feeling really good. She drops in 50 cents. Drops in 50 cents. Drops in Nelly. And all of a sudden, this guy looks in, he's like, 50 cents, he's feeling good. So he sees this little dog walking by, this perro pequeño. So he sees a dog looks a little sick, so he takes the dog in and he nurses it to health. The next day there's a little boy walking by, he goes, hey little boy, you want a puppy and a candy? So they arrested the guy. But the kid took the puppy and he went home with the puppy and he says to his mother, he says, Mama, ooh, can I keep this? Can I keep this dog? And she goes, absolutely not. But Mama, I love Rexy. Hey Rexy, you just made that up. I will not part with my dog. So the mother says, fine, one night. Because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying, fine, just tonight, I'll keep it, okay. So that night, they're all in the house and everybody's sleeping and a fire breaks out and Rexy starts barking and everyone wakes up and gets out of the house and they're all saved. And that little boy grew up to be the President of the United States of America. It was Obama. Okay, I know what you're thinking. The story's in America, he's not American, but I'm saying that in any event, what happened is that but let's not get political here, okay? Let's not get political, yeah? Understand that what he did is he ended up, now, is this a true story, yes or no? No. This is what we call a true story that is yes. There's people, this has certainly happened before. You affect a person, which affects a person, affects a person, affects a person, affects a person. And it's not only that we speak, when you go and you affect a person in a certain way, you know what ends up happening? You get credit for anything positive that happens. And if you affected a person, God forbid, if you affect a person in a negative way, then you also get credit for that. It's called residual income, not the type we're looking for. Understand, people, the way in which we talk, the way not only in which we talk, the way in which we just present ourselves. The way we just present ourselves. Now, in terms of time, I must be over. I want to share with you one last idea. First, what I'll do is just a quick recap of everything we did. We'll end off with one point, and then I'm happy to open up to any questions, comments, stories, jokes, attacks. I assume there will be none. We will look at each other awkwardly for a moment. I will say thank you, you will clap, and I will leave. Okay, so let's begin. We start at the beginning. When a person goes to the movie theater, someone's getting fire, everyone starts running after, but the guy said, what? Freedom of speech, say what you want to say. What about Judaism? You can say whatever you want, but it did. Make sure you can be responsible for the things you're going to say. You better make sure you count the sex tax to pay it off. Let's get a little further. What do we say after that? We say sticks and stones will break my bones, but whips and but words will kill you. Understand the phrase, what happens? Unbelievable things we can remember 20 years later. I can color in the lines, so thank you so much. And get arrested. We remember these things. Because I speak, I believe I can touch the sky. When a person goes ahead and they do things, what happens? They go and they change everything. Whether you say you can, you say you can't, doesn't matter. Puedo, no puedo. It's el mismo. Person goes says it's the same thing. You're right. Correcto. If you say you can, but to do things you never could imagine, say you can't, forget about it. You don't. You shut it down and it's over. Person said we get bastante intenso. Right, get a little further. We get the concept of what do we got here? Mavet.
Yeah.
Uchayim. Biad. Halatham. Death and life is in the hands of the tongue, right? The pen is mightier than the sword. No, what does that mean, my friends? Figuratively speaking, there can cause because you kill someone's hopes, dreams, and aspirations with what? Just going and say something, but you're the greatest. And then what happens? The person goes, you're the greatest. That changes everything. Just you can save somebody's life. Then we got a little bit further and said the concept of not only that, but get a little bit deeper and said, Amy, what have you done this year? Okay, forgive me, Father, for I've sinned. But we come and we say the things. What do we got? Number one, we got 3 jobs. The HR, the Gemara, and Bava Basra on page 16a. Ooh. Says the following, you're waiting for that. You're like, here, come on. 16a. Right? He said there are 3 jobs. Job number one. Number one. The EI. Number 2. Prosecutor. Number 3. Slim Shady, Eminem, right? It's a malach hamav as it comes out and meets at the judgment, the person goes to the surface, somebody's going to kill you, right? You're going to sleep on someone else's spouse, Yom Kippur, Kodesh Kodesh will eat somebody who wasn't yours without making a bracha. Nothing will happen to you as long as you do one thing. What is that? Tell someone through Lashon Hara. Excellent, yes. When a person goes and they speak Lashon Hara, what is it? Or kill someone. When a person goes and they tell someone what happens with that, my friends, you open things up a little bit and whatever, you give them the power to the Satan to be able to go in and say something like that. Wow! As soon as we stop him in his tracks, make him measure for measure. Yes. You just smile at someone. What happens has an impact on somebody. It's not just the way in which you speak, it's even the way in which you present yourself. Then we have the President of the United States of America. People, these things are quite real. If you have nothing nice to say, be careful, because you might actually die. It's not just figurative, it's quite literal. It's not just the way we talk, it's the way we present ourselves when we walk. We should be walking in an upright fashion, in a presentable way. Are people going to learn from us in a positive thing, not negative? With the residual income we want is positive, not negative. I want to end off with this one last story. I'm going to start by apologizing. If anybody here personally has experienced something of this nature, this is a very famous story, so if you've heard this one before, you know the rules, don't be that guy, okay? So the story goes like this. There was a boy. This boy's name was Louis. But they called him in school Louis. They weren't so nice. They called him Louis the Loser. They were in 6th grade. If you're Canadian, English, or South African, that would be grade 6. And what happened was, it's my primary school if you're English. And what happened was, Louis the Loser didn't have much friends. He was on the chess team. He had broke his finger, so he couldn't play. But he was on the sidelines. And this kid one day was walking home from school, and he's got all his books, he's got his science and his social studies, his math and whatnot. And come the opposite way, the 3 cool kids in the school. You know the 3 cool kids. They're walking down, they got the team jackets, and they walk over. And the middle one, the one in the middle, he's got a C on his jacket. What's that for? Captain. Well, his name was Charlie, but over here it was a C for captain. And he goes to his friends, he goes, let me tell you why I'll be the captain. Let me show you why I'm the captain. So he goes to his friends, he goes, watch this. And as they come closer to Louis the Loser, they go, hey Louis. He got all his books, he's got his glasses, pocket protector, for those who know what that is. Or for you, it's a charger cable sticking out. And he's walking down, and he turns to him and goes, hey Louis, how was your trip? He goes, trip? What trip are you referencing? I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't on a trip. What do you mean trip? What do you mean when you say trip? I don't know what you mean. He goes, this one, sakat. He puts out his leg, and he trips. And his books go flying, and his glasses fly off, and his pocket protector goes, there is blue ink everywhere. And the kids are watching him on the floor, and they go, yeah, Wildcats, yeah. And they start walking away. As they are walking away, Louis is on the floor, and he's looking for his glasses. And one of the 3 boys there, let's call him Josh. Josh felt bad for this kid, Louis. So he decides he wants to help him. He goes, guys, there's something I got to do. I'll catch you later. They're like, what do you got to do? He's like, I got to go trip someone. They're like, all right, cool, Wildcats, and they leave. When they leave, he walks over to him. This kid's like still on the floor. He's still there, and he's like, you can't see from there. So he's like looking down. He's like he can't find, he's looking for his glasses. And he stands over him, and he goes, can I help you? And the kid's on the floor. He looks up. He goes, God? And he's like, some would say, no, it's just me. It's Josh. Can I help you? He's like, oh, thank you. And he picks up his pocket protector, puts it in a bag. A bag came out of nowhere. It's just flying around. There's a whole pollution issue. Anyway, he goes and he picks up his books, and they start walking back to his house. When they get to his house, right before he's about to be seen with people, he's going to bounce out of there. Non-deuce, ease him on out. Yeah. He can't be seen with this kid. He turns out he's about to leave, and right before he leaves, the kid goes, thank you so much. You want to come inside and play Sonic the Hedgehog on my new Sega Genesis? He's like, only if I'm Tails. So they go inside. And they start playing like a video game together. They have a great time. The next day they're walking in school. And now Josh is walking there, and this boy Louis sees him. He goes, Joshua, right? And the kid's like, what can I get? A what? Yo, we can't be seen together. Silencio. No, this boy, not now. So afterwards, they started to develop a friendship, and it started to get out. In 7th grade, grade 7, primary school still, he goes and he says, they no longer call him Louis the loser, they just call him Louis. Comes 8th grade, they start calling him Lou. Comes 9th grade, he gets rid of his glasses, puts on contacts. There's nothing wrong with glasses, not to be embarrassed, he's very proud of himself, but that's what he does. Comes the 10th grade, he gets rid of his pocket protector. Comes the 11th grade, he's no longer on the chess team, he's on the basketball, baseball, hockey, football, and soccer team. Comes the 12th grade, he's the coolest kid in the school. His name is Lou. He's the captain of all the teams. He's the prom king and queen. It's another class, we're not going into it now. And not only that, he graduates what's known as valedictorian. Am I not allowed to say that anymore, like 2016? You have to be careful with something. Anyway, so he goes ahead, and he graduates valedictorian. He's going to represent. I don't know if you guys have that. I don't know, is that a nationwide thing? Valedictorian? Yeah. I'm from New York, I only know what that is. Right? So in my family, actually, my brother was valedictorian. We haven't spoken in a while. In any event, valedictorian, you're going to represent. So the guy gets up at the graduation. He's like, and he goes and he's like, parents, faculty, friends, students, and friends and faculty, welcome to the graduating class of 2000. Everyone throws their hats off. They hit somebody in the face. He's in stable condition, and he gets on to his speech. And he says, there's so many people I have to thank, but the person I have to thank more than anyone, that's Josh, because Josh, he saved my life. And everyone's like, saved your life? That's so nice, save your life. Hercules, we're talking about save your life. Pass the butter, what are you talking about, right? And he goes, save my life. And they said, what do you mean? You see, I'll tell you something. Not many people know. Some of you know some of the story, but not all of it. One day I'm walking home. It's about 6 years ago. I'm walking down the street, and I get tripped. My book bags go fly everywhere. And there I am on the floor. I'm totally embarrassed. I look up, I go, God, and what ends up happening? Okay, but I want to tell you one part that nobody knows. Why was I carrying all of my books home that day? Math, science, arithmetic and math, right? And geography, geometry. Why was I carrying it home? The very next day I had class. The very next day I had all these subjects. And if anyone went through this, I'm so sorry, but I want to bring in a point up here. He says, I'll tell you why, because I decided that night that I was going to take my life. I didn't have any reason to live anymore. Nobody liked me, everybody made fun of me. And I would laugh, because what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to cry, so I would laugh, but it hurt. It was very deep pain. And I thought to myself, what's the point if everyone's just going to make fun of me? And I wanted to save my parents the embarrassment of having to come back into school and get my stuff. So I was carrying home all of my books. And then something miraculous happened. I get tripped, I'm on the floor, I look up, I go, God? And it really was God. I said, you know what? Let me give it one more day. And it goes well. I said, you know what, let me give it one more day. And it goes well. I said, let me give it one more day. And I stand before you here today, 6 years later, valedictorian, representing my class, one of the coolest kids in school, because one person decided to stop and say, can I help you? Friends, this is not a joking matter. We've all heard stories similar to this, or this one in particular. I can tell you, I know someone personally that this happened to. This is a very, very real thing. Understand, every one of us in this room has been hurt before. Everyone. I don't care who you are. Everyone in this room has been hurt. Some of us a little deeper, some of us a little more surface, but everyone's been hurt. Do you ever stop and think for a moment that maybe, God forbid, that feeling of pain someone else might be feeling, and it's because of us? Maybe we are the one that caused someone else to feel that way. We have an incredible gift called the power of speech. You could either build or destroy. You could either break someone or you could make them. Take advantage. Any questions, comments, stories, jokes, attacks? Please keep them verbal and physical. Oh, is that really? No. I knew it. You just wanted to make sure it's not awkward. All right, people, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. See you when I see you. Take care. Bye-bye.